right now the index is pointing to fear. But look at where we are. The market is at all-time high. S&P, Nasdaq 100, or even Russell 2000 is right at the all-time high. And the index shows that we're probably not in the top information and not the bubble yet. That's something that we can take into account for the perspective. We might not be in the top information, or the bubble is yet to burst. But most importantly, we want to take a look at the chart. Last week, we talked about the immediate support still around 6,600. We talk about high volatility came with high volume. The volatility is all these big candles to the downside or to the upside. Look at all this volume still relatively high. That's why the volatility is high. And suspect that it need more testing. But look at the test. Last week's session started Monday. We already see testing via this consolidation. Apart from this spike of the volume with a demand tail, it's already tested 6,700 a few times with decreasing of the supply, suggesting that supply doesn't come out at the top right here. That's why we have a breakout. Look at this breakout. It doesn't take a lot of the effort for it to move up. The breakout here and then followed by a gap up. That's because of the tariff deal between US and China at least came to a temporary agreement. At the moment, it's de-escalate the tension. That's why we have a gap up right there. Supply has been decreasing. Look at the testing. It takes 6,700, the minor support level as a launch pad, breakout and come in above the previous high at about 6,800, and then jump up. The first target already reached, as sent out in my email, 6,900. That's the first target to about 7,000. That's the next target. Short term is overbought, extended a little bit, but volume doesn't come out, suggests that the supply is still held by the smart money, and we yet to see a lot of the profit taking to come in. The worst case, it might be a few of the tests come back to test the gap or even test the 6,800 and to build out another handle before it move up. But based on this chart alone, there's no signs of slowing down yet. Immediate direction is up. Will be dependent on the coming up earnings. We have close to about thousands of the companies having the earnings releasing this week. The immediate direction will still be up. Support level looking at 6,800 as axis line. And also the gap right there could attract some form of the testing, might be intraday testing, fill the gap. And 6,800 is a much more meaningful support level that we could monitor closely. As long as 6,800 is holding up well, it's likely to challenge 7,000 level. There are a few things that I feel be relief. First is supply has been decreasing. Second, this huge volatility with high volume tested by this little consolidation area right here. And when it breakout coming above, we did not see a ton of the supply coming out. As seen it with these few bars right here, this is encouraging and constructive.